All right, so we are sitting abnormally close together to bring you an interview with my husband who just quit his job, because I know that's something that a lot of y'all want to do, but you don't know how it's possible. You don't know what that looks like. And I feel like he has an interesting perspective because he never really wanted to quit until the last few years. You were totally good with like a, like a secure job forever. So I guess that's what we're doing today. We're talking about him making the decision to quit his job, what got us here, what he's going to be doing, all the things. Hey, howdy, hey y'all. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jessica Stansberry, and this is the channel for you if you want to be a full-time creator and you want to, live, laugh, love. All the things that are entrepreneurship and not working that corporate job. So that sounds like something you'd like to subscribe to. Definitely make sure you do. And this is my husband. This is Jonathan.
I can't believe you'd own me.
Own you?
Wow.
What do you mean? You mean claim you?
Yeah, claim me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He is more Southern than I am, so I hope y'all enjoy his accent.
You may need subtitles.
Future editing Jessica popping into this video before we get into the fun interview with my husband to chat about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes to help you sharpen your skills, get more creative, do all the things and learn all the things that you might possibly want to learn. So for instance, if you want to become a YouTuber, there are hundreds of classes on Skillshare that will allow you to learn to film, learn to edit, learn to just have a presence on camera. Like this class from Marquez Brownlee, which is packed full of YouTube goodness to show you how to film, edit, and really get those videos out there on YouTube. It's curated specifically for learning, so there's no ads, and they're constantly adding classes, so you can learn whatever you want to learn, whenever you want to learn it, without an end in sight. And the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link below will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. Now, let's get into the video. Okay. So basically, I'm just going to treat this like a podcast interview because we're going to put it up on the podcast too.
Do it.
And we're having to sit abnormally close together, like my arm is back here to get everything like we want it, but that's okay. So I have some questions.
Ask.
Okay, first of all, what have you been doing for your corporate job for the last however long?
I have been a building inspector, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, all the trades. Well, I've done that for 13 years. And that last year and a half, 2 years, was also a fire inspector, fire marshal for the county that we live in. Mm-hmm. And it is first and foremost, a wonderful place to work.
You loved your job.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved the people, loved the atmosphere. Would not trade my 13 years at the county for anything. I love them to death. They're good people. And yeah, I have learned more than I ever thought I would. I didn't really realize how much I was learning. They had a lot invested in me. So, sorry. But I enjoyed what I've done, especially to start with. Mm-hmm. It was growing up in Ashe County, I mean,
we don't have a lot of options.
That's what
here.
You do.
Yeah.
You get a good job and you keep it. And I've been quit for
not even a week.
So
like 5 days.
Yeah.
4 days.
Still nervous, about it all. Yeah, that's what I've done. End of answer.
End of answer. Okay. Mm-hmm. So something he didn't say was that he has a bachelor's degree in construction as well, and basically has like a lot of knowledge in that arena, right?
Sure. Yeah, it was all about. That job was very, at times was intense. Now when I first started, it was very, very busy. That was when the housing market was booming.
He started in
2008.
Yeah.
And for about the first year there, I was very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I had to do a lot of classes, had to take a lot of tests. Some of them I passed, some of them I had to take again. And that was stressful. That was a big achievement for me, was passing those tests and getting the certifications. And then the housing crunch come, and the economy done what it done in 2009. And for about 3 years, it kind of slacked up, but it gave me time to learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, we were a little slower, so it took, we could really spend a lot of time on a job. But I learned the ins and outs, from start to finish of the jobs. And I was trying to brag on the county here, okay?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Give me a chance to learn. And in that time, I went from, when you're an inspector, you look over all kinds of jobs. Everybody's job is your job. So there's no, you don't have that much to do, because it's not just one or two construction jobs that you're involved in. You're involved in every construction job in the county. And yeah, that was an important point that I wanted to make.
So having enjoyed his life history there. So what made you decide to quit? Like, as someone, okay, so let me backstory for a second, because he is definitely the person in our relationship who craves security and never even thought about quitting his job. Like, up until the last few years or so, never even remotely thought about quitting his job or even doing something different. He likes security, and sure, he was enjoying his job, so it wasn't, that big of a deal. So as someone who had a 401k and insurance and retirement,
don't remind me.
all the things that, like, our parents taught us we were supposed to go after.
Oh yeah, and that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yes.
Reiterate that.
Yeah, it is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But this channel, the people watching this channel, don't want to do that.
Exactly.
Okay, so
screw it.
screw the government. Okay, so anyway, name that movie.
Legends of the Fall.
Good job.
It's one of my favorite, probably my favorite.
And
one of my favorite movies.
And I don't really like it, but that line is always fun. Yeah. So anyway, as someone who liked all of that, was secure, all those things, what made you decide to quit?
Well, truthfully.
Sure.
Can I be very truthful?
I mean, the internet will see it, so it's up to you.
Ooh.
What you say?
When you're involved in every job in the county, a lot of responsibility falls on you. I'm all for responsibility. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs quality control. Everybody needs accountability, especially in a government job. And believe me, it's there. Mm-hmm. I stopped enjoying my job. I guess I just felt like I was trapped. Yeah, I mean, that's probably pretty cliche, but you just are. You're if you don't enjoy it. I don't exactly, the complaining and the whining.
You had a lot of complaints to deal with. Like let's say our neighbor decided to build on, and we decided to be turds about that, and we were like, hey, we don't like that they're building on. We're going to call the county and we're going to complain that they are building a garage because we don't think they have a permit for it. And so there was a lot of that going on.
Two, we had this mindset of...
We're going into mindset now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
All right.
When you're in the building industry, there are people who really want something and they will work to get it and they will pay you to do what you want them to do. Mm-hmm. But anywho, when people hire a builder, and they know that builder can build their house, all the responsibility rides on that contractor. That's the way it should be. But you have people, an overwhelming amount of people, who want something for nothing. And they want you as a contractor and me as an inspector to always be on their side. Mm-hmm. And these people are looking for something for nothing. And when I say that, I mean it in the nicest way possible. It's a little crooked. It just is. And when they go into this thinking, I shouldn't say an overwhelming amount, but one part of the job that weighed on me was I felt like I was being caught between a rock and a hard place all the time. Mm-hmm. I didn't like that. That was the trapped part. That was the part where I had to try to please homeowners, I had to try to please the public, and then I had to work with contractors. And you're kind of caught in the vice in that government level there, where you can't be what you want to be. You have to be what you're expected to be. And that's what I didn't like. I didn't like being told what to do. That's pretty much.
I thought you were going to say, I wanted to farm, Like, I thought that was going to be the answer to that.
Oh, no, that was a whole different thing. That was a whole different, I mean, yeah, that's part of it. That's why I wanted to quit.
You're right.
But, yes, obviously, of course, my days off were spent farming.
Okay, so...
But yes, I did not want to do it anymore. I wanted to farm.
For those of you that don't know, maybe you're new here, we live on a farm. He has farmed his entire life, basically, from birth. His grandparents farmed, his dad and mom have farmed, like, all the things. And we farm animals, so it's usually like cows, sheep, like goats, whatever, right? And in the last few years, since we moved here, he's really been focused on farming cattle. And so that is what he does, but it's always had to be a part-time situation because there's a lot we could get into there with our area and how that kind of holds farming back a little bit from the land available and all that good stuff. But the real point is that he didn't have the time to focus on the farm, and the farm needed time focused on it.
Oh, yeah.
To grow.
Yeah.
And so it got to the point where it was like the I want to farm full time was outweighing how much the job was good, right?
Yeah.
And so it kept coming back for the last few years, the last couple years for sure, definitely pre-COVID.
Yeah.
It kept coming back to one day I'm going to quit my job, one day I'm going to farm full time, blah, blah, blah. And it just got to the point where we were at a good point to say, okay, let's make this decision. Now, that being said, he can't, like, he's not at a point where farming full time is a thing right now. If we're looking at, like, let's say matching his income from his other job, probably a few years off from that, from the farm, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to put us in a hard spot.
Right.
So.
And I very rarely get stressed out. Like, I'm not an easy person to stress, but when it comes to money, like, that is the thing that, like, stresses me out. And so I kept reiterating, like, you've got to bring in money. I can't be solely responsible because it's scary to me and it stresses me out. And I know that, like, me being stressed out means that we're going to fight more, that I'm not going to be like, all the things. So, it really came down to, okay, he's going to quit. And the end goal is farming full time, but we're not there yet. And I think this is really important to talk about because this is something that a lot of people miss when they're looking at, like, quitting their jobs or whatever, is I want to quit my job for this thing over here, right? And I'm sorry, y'all, I normally talk with two hands, but the other one's back here. But I want to quit my job for, like, this goal over here. I want to quit my job to run a retail store. I want to quit my job to farm. I want to quit my job to do this thing. But you are going to have time and capital and money to do this thing over here. And so you just stay in the job forever because you never have the time and capital and money to quit. But this is what I call bridge income. So if you're looking, like, let's say you want to be a full-time YouTuber. Let's say you want to be anything, right? If that seems far off, do something in the middle. Quit the job and do something that is going to get you the money and the freedom to be able to work yourself towards that goal. So what will you be doing? So farming is the end goal, but what are you doing now? He's still farming, but,
Oh, yeah.
Beyond that.
Let me say this, that I don't go jump off the...
No, don't make not sound decisions,
Yeah,
right?
And don't look at your situation just like ours, because yours probably isn't like ours. First of all, as I have grown over the years, me and you both, we have become very big believers in personal responsibility.
Yep.
And, if I want to do it, then I'll find a way. And my belief in that, or my emphasis on that, has changed due to her. And, when you get right down to it, yeah, some folks would probably say, well, she's the reason you quit your job. She talked you into it. And, yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, I do talk literally about this all the time on the internet. And so I wasn't ever coming to you and being like, you need to quit. This is something you need to do.
No. When we were, like, in the early stages, when I was like, you know what, I think I can do it. Or I think it's time. And then something would happen and, I'd have a good week at work. And I'd be like, I don't know. And then you'd be like,
you should stay.
You should just stay.
Yeah. Because again,
you might get a raise.
Yeah.
You might get this. You might get that. And
yeah.
It was very comfortable.
Yeah.
I'll say that. It was comfortable.
Yeah.
And two, I want to say this.
You're not answering my question.
Well, you won't let me.
But you're
Give me
talking
time
about
here.
something. Okay, continue.
This is a big deal.
Okay.
Don't discredit somebody going to work.
No.
Because that takes just as tough a person.
Especially to go to a job they don't like.
Especially to go to a job they don't like. That takes a tough person to do that because they know they have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, whether you're going to be happy and chipper while you're doing that is a whole nother story. But people go to work to take care of their families, and that is very respectable, and I praise those people.
Mm-hmm.
Our situation, we talked about it, and then one day it was like,
we should do it.
that's it. And I'm going to tell them in the morning, and I walked in and told them.
He really did. It was like a split decision like that. It was crazy.
And the faith to do it.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic too. But the faith that we have
mm-hmm.
is, obviously in God Almighty. And the faith, I just felt, I'm a pretty spiritual person. Jessica is too. And I felt like that's just what I needed to do.
Yep.
And, like I said, that's a whole nother topic. We won't get on that. But I wanted to farm. I wanted to be a different kind of person than what I had been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And with me quitting, I felt like I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought about this. I thought about that. I thought about starting a business doing this, honestly, I wanted to get out so bad that I was like, well, I can mow yards. I can do this. I can do, and I've never done that before.
Yeah. And I just kept saying like, no.
Nothing against mowing yards.
No.
That's a big business, especially around here.
Sure. But he doesn't have the equipment for that, and it was like a whole thing. He kept coming back to, well, I'll do this, and I'll do this, and I'll do this, and I'll do this, and I kept, because, I'm me, and, I'm like, you can't piddle. You can't just do a bunch of little things.
I would have painted this on mugs at one point.
You can't just piddle. You can't just do a bunch of little things and hope that it makes a difference or makes a business. And so I just kept saying like, no, you need like an actual business. Something that makes sense, something that, is going to be a business, because my advice to anybody is the riches are in the niches. You ever heard that? Have I said that to you before?
Yeah, maybe.
So that means that
that.
niching down and doing one thing means that word can spread that you're doing that thing, and means that you can get really good at that thing, and you can charge premium prices for that thing, and like a whole thing. So he kept coming back to these like little, I'm going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this.
I was going to do everything.
And I just kept saying like, no, we can't do that.
I just couldn't. It didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to quit.
He wanted out. So, and honestly, that can't be discounted either, right? Like if you really want out and you can make up the money you need to make up by doing little things, like of course, but you won't grow with that. You won't it'll be harder to like get anywhere. So I'm going to ask my question again, because you've not answered it yet.
I was getting to it and you interrupted me.
But what are you going to be doing?
Well, obviously my experience with my previous job in college, and just an interest in building, I have become very familiar with how a house is put together and what it takes to do that. Mm-hmm. And I do not want to be a building contractor. Let me reiterate that. I do not want to be a contractor. But I do like the project management side of it.
Which is basically what your degree was in.
That's basically what my degree was in. And it helped. Don't discount college.
Oh, I talk bad about college a lot.
It's not what it used to be, obviously. But I like seeing the end result of a good house.
Mm-hmm.
A good building. I say house, but just a good building. That's one of the things that the United States is just excelling in. We know how to do infrastructure. We know how to do it. We have the means to do it. But yes, that's what I'll be doing.
You would think you're the one with ADHD. Like you are talking.
I could go on forever about it.
So, in other words, he's gonna be.
You won't let me answer.
But you won't answer.
Well, are we on a time limit here?
No, but like people are watching this and they don't want to fall asleep in the middle of it, being like, I wanted the answer to that question.
One word answers. I'm gonna be doing project management for construction.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, that's all. There you go.
He's going to do it. Project management and other things kind of involved in that construction industry.
Yeah. I'll be subbing out 2 contractors to help them through the building process and take care of what they don't want to take care of. So I'll be taking load off of them, what I can do legally. You know, obviously there's legal parameters there. Certain parts of it the contractor has to be part of.
Right.
So with that being said, that's what I can make money on now. And I have already, and I hope to keep doing that.
Yeah, you're only like 4 days in, and you've already made money.
Yeah.
Like, that's exciting. I took his picture with his first check.
She did.
But he won't let me post it, so it's a whole thing. But I think
I'm excited about it.
We discount our experience, too, right? Like, our experience. I mean, you have a lot of building knowledge. Have a lot of construction knowledge and a lot of like experience there, and to discount that and not use that to build a business would be insane.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially one that is needed.
I don't ever want to quit. I want to, that's my, I guess this is another question you have. My end result,
Sure.
I do want to farm and nothing else. That's what I love. That's what I want to do. I don't know what my days look like yet doing that.
Yeah.
But right now I like my days. You know, this is day 2 of, I guess, actual
Day 3.
self-employment.
Day 3.
Whatever.
Friday, Monday, today.
Oh yeah, day 3. But anyway, that's what I want to do. I want to get to the point to where I make it at least as much farming as I do project management, and more. And I don't ever want to quit project management.
Yeah.
I don't think I would. You know, I might not do but 1 or 2 jobs a year. You know, maybe 6 or 8.
And this too,
I won't quit.
Right. And it really allows him to have more freedom to do more farm stuff. And that has been really important. It's
that
like
was a big deal for us.
It's like
Or
the
for
freedom.
Me. Yeah, I was always, for the last 13 years, I would work all day or, you know, build up time, vacation time or comp time, and use that to go farm.
Yeah.
And it was always after 5. You know, it's always been work till 5 o'clock, and then I have so much I have to get done farming before 8 o'clock or before dark.
Yeah.
Or before bedtime. Hopefully, a lot of times it wasn't bedtime. You know, a lot of times we was putting hay in the barn at midnight because we couldn't. Me and my dad couldn't get it all done. Working 8 to 5. You know.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
I mean, there's
especially
been
when you were on call.
We've been married 15 years, and
yeah.
He's always come home and went right back out to like do something else on the farm, because otherwise it's not going to get done. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so
and it's not profitable at that point. It's a hobby.
No. Oh.
That's a good point, I guess. It's always just been a hobby.
It's always been a hobby.
And I don't want it to be a hobby anymore.
Even as much as you have grown.
Oh, sure.
In the last like couple years, because he's focused more on a certain thing. It's still been a hobby. It's still not making money. It's still not like couldn't sustain our family. And honestly, farming as a whole is like that. I mean, if you listen to like any podcast or any farmers anywhere, they'll tell you like farming is not really this like big money market, because there's so much overhead. There's so much work and overhead involved.
Everything costs so much.
Yeah. So, but it's always been a hobby, and eventually he wants to get to the point of making it not be a hobby. And this is the pathway to get there, because previously in a full-time job he couldn't do that. He didn't have the freedom, you know. So what are you most excited about?
Honestly, I can already tell my time is going to be spent different. So like yesterday, I got up, done my thing, put in 3 or 4 hours worth of work for the project management stuff. At lunchtime, I decided to go take care of probably a couple of hours. Yeah,
probably.
Worth of, I guess what you call farming. I had
farm
to move.
Work, yeah.
Move a couple of cows to a different spot, and look after a thing or two there, and that I done from like 12 to 2.
Not 8 or 5 to 8.
Yeah, and at 3 o'clock, actually. Yeah, at 3 o'clock I was back to looking at some plans. And at 5 o'clock I was done for the day. Done. Yeah. Like, other than just piddling. Yeah. I was done for the day. And I'm excited about that already. Yeah. Like
the freedom.
Yes. Yeah. The freedom of it. Oh wow, yeah. I mean, it's a weird feeling. And like I was laying on the couch last night and saw something on my calendar on the phone about Columbus Day coming up. And I was like, I wonder when my next day off is. And it's like, every day's
not a day off.
Every day's not a day off, but I don't have to worry about the next vacation day coming up because I'm not there anymore.
Right. So, okay. So last question.
I hope this sticks around like this.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
What sticks around?
Maybe doing another interview when
you go back to work.
I go back to work.
I mean, we could.
That is not the plan. Let's
no.
put it that way.
No. So, last question.
Mm-mm.
If somebody's watching or listening, because we're going to put this on the podcast too, if somebody's consuming this in some way and they are at a job that they don't want to be at, / they are looking to do something to, move them into entrepreneurship, what would be a piece of advice?
Ooh.
I didn't prep you with that question.
I got 2 pieces of advice.
Okay, good. You had one. Good.
What can you take, this is just me, what can you take from what you're doing now and specialize it for yourself? Oh my gosh, yes.
Good job.
Hey.
That's a really good one. Yes, because one of my very first clients when I started doing business consulting, she had been, I think, laid off from her pretty hefty job, and she was trying to start a business, and it wasn't going super well, so she hired me as a coach. And I just kept saying, you could do this, what she was doing in corporate, for small businesses or for whatever. And she just kept saying, I don't think there's a market for that. And still to this day, that's been 6 years ago probably, still to this day, she's still doing that. She has a rockin' business doing it. And it's because she had those skills. And I think we discount what skills we have or had in corporate or use in corporate that we could take out into the world. So for him, it's this, project management, construction, that kind of thing. I mean, he knows anything there is, anything I've ever asked. He knows the answer to how a building goes together or what materials go where, whatever, right? Most of the time.
I don't know everything.
No, but anything I've ever asked is what I said. But I have small questions,
Yeah.
But then for me, I mean, I had skills from college where I knew I could design stuff in Photoshop. I could kind of muddle my way around web design. And that is what I used to build a business that enabled me to then get to the point where I wanted to be. And for me, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know I wanted to be a YouTuber and a content creator. But it still was the pathway there. And for you, you know the end result, and you're doing this as the pathway.
Yeah.
So
it is. That's my that's what I'm doing now to be able to farm land and
So
grow.
what was your other piece?
My other piece, totally 110%, more so than anything, is be to the point in your life where you feel like you can, honest to God, consult the big man upstairs. Because
I knew you were going to go religious.
Oh yeah, obviously.
He's a preacher too, by the way.
Yes,
if y'all didn't know that.
It's just it's all. We wouldn't have anything that we have in this life, obviously in the next, without Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Without that influence.
Yep.
That was a big part of me quitting, was finally just stepping out on faith and being able to say, all right, God, this is it. I'm doing it.
Yes. And when I quit my job, whenever that was, 11 years ago, almost 11 years ago, it was kind of the same situation. I mean, I was miserable. I will just tell you right now, I was awfully miserable. I've talked about that before. And needed a way out. But there wasn't a clear path, and entrepreneurship was never a thing. It was not taught to us. It was not this is an option. Anybody we knew who was entrepreneurs at the time were barely scraping by, to be honest. It wasn't that we knew. I mean, we just didn't know a lot of entrepreneurs, to be honest. No. And anybody we'd seen run businesses, that's what it was, and there was never this option that you could be an entrepreneur over working in corporate. And so when I quit my job, or when I wanted to quit my job, we had just had our first son, and I was miserable. I hated my job so much, and I hated leaving my kid with somebody else. It was a whole thing. But again, that was not taught to us. We were not told that that was an option, that we could own our own businesses and be successful. And it was definitely stepping out on faith at that point. And I will say, my first day back from maternity leave when I quit my job, which is kind of when I quit, was a horrible, horrible day for a lot of reasons. Stuff at work, stuff at home. It was just a really, really bad day. But up until that point, anytime I would mention wanting to quit my job, he would always be no. No, you have a good job. Right. You have good pay. You are working for one of those companies, right? And it was never something where I saw a way out. And the no good, very bad day was kind of the way that he was able to see, oh, she can't keep doing this. Like, she's going to lose her mind. Because I was losing my mind. And I truly, to this day, will always say that was a God thing. Like, it was awful that I had to go through it, but it was what he needed.
Oh, it's the way it had to happen.
Yeah, it was what he needed for me.
It had to happen.
For like him to be able to see that I could quit and like we could do something else. And it was hard. I mean, me quitting, we were in a lot different of a financial position than we are now. And was a lot harder on us than him quitting. But it's either way, it's still, it's still stepping out on faith and being like, okay, all right, God.
Oh yeah. Now make sure, take time and make sure it's God speaking to you and not your little subconscious up here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think God speaks to you in your subconscious.
Oh, he does. He
does,
but
it's hard to say.
Like I tell our oldest a lot.
What do you tell him a lot?
Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. I love him to death. Sometimes, like every 11-year-old boy, he has his moments. That goes for everybody. Don't be dumb. And
I've said that
if you feel bad
in videos
about
before.
If you're so scared to the point to where it's freaking you out, it's probably not time.
Yeah, I've said that in videos before. Like, don't make a decision that's going to put you in a bad place. As much as you're watching videos or listening to podcasts where that's what you want to do. Like, don't put yourself in a bad place or your family in a bad place, because then it won't be a good idea. No. And
be sure. The way I was sure was because I never felt any remorse. I don't feel any remorse now.
Right.
I'm excited more than scared. So, I think that was a good indicator.
Yeah.
I think if God's telling you not to do it, I think he'll tell you, and you better listen.
And I also believe what you want religiously or whatever, but I say this a lot and I truly believe it, is God would not, you would not have that thought in your mind, you would not have that dream if you weren't, especially if it's a nagging, especially if it's a nagging dream. Like, if you flip from day to day and your dream is different every day, that's different. But if it's like, I want to do this, I need to do this, I don't think that we would have that if that wasn't what we were supposed to do. Yeah. So find a way, right? Like, he couldn't just quit and be like, I'm farming full time, because there's no money in it right now. And so it was a matter of finding a way to make the money that he needed to make to be able to quit his job and have more freedom and more time to farm.
Yep. And it's timing. It's timing.
Yep.
We could do a whole episode on timing just in our lives. But the timing was right for me. And the timing needs to be right for you. And,
did you get irritated if I poked your eyeball?
Oh, yeah. So, consult with people that you trust, people that are going to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Even though you don't want to hear it, or maybe you do. And obviously consult. My advice is to get your life in the spot where you can consult with the big man. Be able to jump. Be able to take the leap and feel good about it.
Yep.
If you don't feel good about it, give it time. It's my advice.
Okay.
Hey, short podcast.
No, it's 40 minutes long.
Okay.
It's not short. All right. So, if y'all have any other questions about how, anything that we didn't cover today that you'd want me to answer in a future podcast or want me to bring him back on for, leave it in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube, or hit me up on Instagram and DM me and let me know there. But yeah, I mean, thanks for hanging out with me.
It's been fun.
I'm sweating to death.
We'll do it again one day.
I'm sweating to absolute death. You can see the light back here and it's so hot. I have sweat running down my butt crack.
Shoo.
Yeah, sorry. All right. Until next time. Bye, y'all.
Adios.